You're listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks.
Here with John Hicks, I'm Jennifer Perry. This is a retirement podcast, yes, but it's not like any other financial show that you're listening to. So if you like us, subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. You can always weigh in with your questions too at retirementsolutionradio.com. Maybe you're just sticking close to home and making some home improvements. I think from time to time, John, all of us get sucked into one of these shows.
All new Flip or Flop.
Get your fixer-upper fix on HGTV.
Watch an all-new House Hunters on HGTV.
Yep, it's like background noise in my home on the weekend.
Garbage.
Yeah,
home and garbage television.
I love it.
I know. I'm not going to say I hate it. My wife, this is her thing. I mean, I remember there were years and years and years where we'd fall asleep watching International House Hunters. And I always laugh about it now because over the years, as we've had a couple different houses and we've done some of these projects, I realize that those shows are a bunch of liars. They are absolute bold-faced liars. There is not one single easy thing that has ever happened. I'm talking about just pulling up a linoleum floor in an old bathroom.
Or just replacing a light fixture. It's not that easy.
Anything.
Yes.
Whatever wiring is in my ceiling is not what they sell in the stores these days.
Right.
It's never worked out that way. So I laugh about it, because over the years, she's always said, John, think about it. We could find one of those places and we could make it our own. I'm like, yeah, you could make it your own. I'm going to be electrocuted, probably drowned, destitute and broke because I'll have to go through all my money to fix all the things I screw up. There's no way that's going to work out. Right. But isn't it amazing, Jennifer, how every single one of those shows make it seem so easy? Who the good-looking guys my wife always...
Oh, the Property Brothers.
Yeah, the Property Brothers. The twins. Right, yeah. So these two guys, my wife's like, why can't you be more like them? How come you can't have an eye for great fashion and also be able to swing a hammer at the same time, John?
Right.
I'm like, what kind of double standard is this? This is nonsensical. Like, not only am I emasculated, now I can't swing a hammer and I don't have sense or fashion sense or whatever you call it. I just heard you say sense, which is about all I have left in my pocket after all the crap I've tried to do to fix things. No dollars, only cents. When you've watched those shows, what have you thought? Have you ever taken on one of those projects they've done? Realistically,
yes.
More than once?
No. I did one mini bathroom, did the flooring, replaced the vanity, the light fixture, which was the biggest pain. We ended up punching a hole in the wall. I don't know how that happened. And every time I go into that bathroom, John, I look at, well, there's like an inch gap on that floor, and that vanity's still a little bit rocky sometimes. It never works out the way that they say it was going to, right?
And I think part of that, right, is our bias. When we're doing it, we know what gave us the heartache. We know what gave us the problems. We always stare at that piece. Yeah. So there may be something that no one else in their right mind would ever have noticed, but because we were part of that, we know, I can see that. And when you go in there, you see it every single time. Now, it doesn't make you so nuts to where you want to go do it again.
No, no. I've left it the same way for 10 years, so yes.
But every single time you go in that room, you see that.
Yep.
And I remember my wife and I, when we would fall asleep, and I mentioned this earlier, but we would fall asleep to International House Hunters. Now, this is one of those stories, Jennifer, if you haven't seen this is pretty great because you typically have all these American families. They're often from the Midwest or sometimes they're from Ontario, Canada. But what it is they're trying to find these international households of their dreams. Often these are coastal places, right? Beachfront places. Yeah. And so I remember the one, and I remember this one very vividly because there was this younger couple from the Midwest, Kansas or Omaha, Nebraska or whatever it was. And they were going to go down and they were going to find this beautiful beach place like in St. Lucia or St. Martin, St. Kitts, whatever it was. And they had all these things they wanted. They wanted to be right there on the beach. They wanted to be close to restaurant and bars. They had to have big entertaining space. My goodness, the kitchen has to be updated.
Of course.
I mean, I don't care what kind of third world country this is. This kitchen has to have granite countertops and rubbed bronze fixtures or this is a no-go. Of course, you can't just stop at the kitchen. You have to have the bathrooms that have everything.
That's always an issue internationally, right?
Always. Yes. You have to have the big bathrooms. You got to have enough room for relatives, blah, 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 blah. But of course, what did this couple want to spend? $215,000. Okay. They want to move to tropical paradise. They want everything to be better than it would be in Kansas City where they're from, but they want to spend less than half of what any house should be. And I laugh about this because this reminds me, Jennifer, of finances. You know, when we watch all these commercials out there, and you've seen these, right? The Fidelity commercial, the Charles Schwab commercial, or take your pick. And they say, look how easy it is. All you got to do is call us, and a person in a cubicle that's worked with us for 6 weeks is going to be able to put you on the fast track to a beach home where in your wildest dreams you could never believe how life could be.
Oh, there's always the husband pushing the wife in the swing.
Yes.
And,
that's the new one. That's
perfect.
The new one. It used to be a couple in a convertible driving down A1A.
Yes.
That used to be the thing. You could see the wind wafting flawlessly through their perfectly silvered hair. And it was just a wonderful, like they're smiling at each other, not thinking that they both have to go to the bathroom so bad. And the next place for them to go pee is like 30 miles away. They're not even thinking about that. That's not even in their head, at least not in this commercial. And that's the way they paint this picture. But what it really is more like, unfortunately, when we're looking at finances, it's not easy.
Right.
And this is one thing we mentioned Charlie Munger in the show today before, the 97-year-old kind of best friend of Warren Buffett. But one of the things that Munger said in a biography written about him is he said, listen, if investing were easy, everyone would be a billionaire.
Right.
It's not easy at all. As a matter of fact, it's very difficult. And what he was alluding to is that often the biggest obstacle to our success is ourselves. It just happens to be the case. And when you think about that, there's a lot of truth to that. But I started thinking about that couple when I was looking through this, when you're talking about HGTV, and I was thinking, you know what, that couple, what they're about to find out is that dose of reality, right?
Yeah.
Because you see the beginning of the show where they have all these wishes and the wants and the desires, and sometimes you can read in that realtor's mind as they're sitting there talking to them over a beverage. The realtor's like, oh, so you want to be close to the beach, huge granite countertops, beautiful bathrooms, land for miles. And you want to spend $215,000. And here's what they do. They kind of have that curt look, and they're like, well, this will be a challenge, but we'll see what we can find, right?
Yes, that's always the line. We'll see what we can find.
We'll see what we can do. And here's the thing. When that couple goes to the first place, it is a train wreck. And they're looking at this going, oh my gosh, this is nothing of what we wanted. And here's what the realtor would say, but this is very close to the beach.
Yeah.
And if you look at the land, there's a lot of view. And frankly, from one area of this house, you can actually see the ocean. And by the way, this house is $312,000. And you can see the look in those couples like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this could be the case. And they go through those 2 or 3 properties. And in the end, they always find this perfect one, right? And that perfect one is never what they had in their mind. It ends up being a compromise, does it not?
Yeah, always.
Where it's not close to the beach, but it has the room they wanted. Or it is close to the beach, but they don't have the ample space to have all big bathrooms and huge, granite kitchens. What they realize is that there's things that they can give up to get the things they wanted the most. And when they make those choices, it's like that. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's kind of what retirement is kind of like for most of us. It'd be awesome if we could walk into retirement with $7 or $8 or $9 million saved. We can be cavalier because on top of having that big old pile of money, we got a pension that pays us $10,000 a month after expenses, after taxes. How awesome would that be?
Yeah.
But how many of us get that opportunity? Not very many. See, that would be what that couple is thinking about from House Hunters. All those things they wanted. But when it comes down to compromise, we got to find out what it is we're really looking for. And it's very difficult because most of us, we can't see our blind spots.
Right.
Many times it takes someone else to point that out. Whether in this case with House Hunters is like the realtor. Now, they weren't being rude or dismissive. It's just kind of like, wow, they don't understand what this is going to be like. And when you're dealing with a financial advisor, it's very similar. Sometimes they're going to say, oh, that's easy to do. And you realize when you get to the math, that's not easy to do at all. The amazing thing about it, Jennifer, is just similar to the way that those House Hunter things work out, where it looks so easy, but it's not. I think that it would be very hard for someone to tackle retirement for the first time on their own.
Yeah.
Because they don't see the blind spots. This is where I think a good fiduciary is really a great choice for some people, because none of these people that we see on these shows, do they go out there and try to find that perfect spot on their own? They'd never find it. That doesn't mean they shouldn't retire. That doesn't mean they shouldn't live their dream. They just got to find out the compromise, to talk it out, to find out what they can and can't do without. Not any 2 people that I've ever met share the exact same strategy to hit their goals. Do you believe me on that?
Yeah,
It's true.
Actually, yeah.
No 2 people have exactly the same plan to hit their goals. So when you think about that, when you're talking that custom, just like all these people go into these other areas, you need a second set of eyes. And frankly, you need a really good guide that understands the lay of the land, understands the territory. So at the end of the day, even if you don't get everything you want, you have focused intently on the things that you have to have so that you can find that happiness in the next level. Because that's what it is. It's not the end of working, it's the beginning of the next phase. And if you do this right, this could be like the ending of one of those international house hunters, where even though they didn't get exactly everything they wanted, they're more elated than they ever thought they could. You know why? Because they actually achieved their goal.
Like what you hear? Be sure to hit the subscribe button. And thanks for listening to The Retirement Solution with John Hicks.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. J. Hagan Capital is a registered investment advisor. To find out if John Hicks is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal advice. Annuity guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products and annuities offered through John Hicks. Kentucky Insurance License Number 998827.